A lot of people just started seeing videos of me last year. And I could see comments. Where has she been? This woman just showed up and she's all over the place and I'm laughing. I've been in ministry for 35 years, preaching the same things. Some of you that have seen the videos of me online, some of those messages you are seeing are 14 years old. 10 years ago is when I preached them. In fact, one of the messages I saw recently, they brought it up, is about 14 years old, and the church where I preached it has closed down. But because they uploaded it to the internet, it's still there. And one thing God drew my attention to is, Christy, if they're pulling up messages of you 14 years ago and putting it up, it means that you have been speaking consistently for all these years. That's why the message is still relevant 14 years later. God is the one that has your portion, your seat, and your timing. What has happened to me is just timing. I don't know why it was last year it happened, but it did. But let me tell you what happened just before that. I was in January of last year. One of my daughters had a bone marrow transplant in October of 2024, and she was discharged in January of 2025. And God said to me, in Thanksgiving, I want you to travel to nations and just encourage people. I said, which nations? Say, any nation where you have followers on social media, go. Even if it's 2 or 3 people, go and encourage them. And I said, Lord, how will I fund it? He didn't answer me. You know how God can be silent at critical times. He didn't answer me. So I said, okay, since I'm in Houston with my daughter, let me start in Houston. I don't need to travel anywhere. So I had the first meeting in Houston. And by April, I was in the 10th country. April of last year. In Kenya, I was coming down from the plane. And I heard God say to me, I'll reward you for obeying me. Immediately my mind said, hey, God is going to give me back all my money that I've been using to buy all the tickets that I've been traveling. Because tickets are very expensive. My money was running out. And God said to me, I'm not giving you money. He said, I'm giving you visibility. So I called one of my pastor friends, my accountability friend, because each of you has to have accountability people in your life. I called him, I said, I heard this in my spirit. I'm not sure if it's my flesh or my spirit, but I'm saying it to you so that if it does happen, we will know it's the Lord. That's how you also practice hearing the voice of God. When you hear and you quickly entrust someone with it, so that if it does happen, you know it's God. Next time you hear his voice, you won't miss it. So he said to me, Mama, embrace it. Embrace it. If it's God, let it happen. I was still at that airport, standing, waiting for my luggage. And I heard my phone ring. It was a pastor from Nigeria. He said, Reverend Christy, tell me you are free on the 29th. 29th of that month. This was 15th, or 17th of the month. I'm not sure. 19th, actually, I think. So I said, yes, I'm free. He said, please come to our church. I said, okay, sir. So I went on the 29th in Lagos and I preached. Made an altar call. Nobody came out. So I was scolding the church people. You think the program is for you? Why are you not inviting unbelievers to church? At the end of that service, pastor said something very unusual to me. He said, Reverend Christy, I don't think your work in this conference is over. I know you are preaching on Thursday in Port Harcourt. He said, please go to Port Harcourt, but come back on Saturday to close the conference on Sunday. For the first time that was happening to me. So I left on Wednesday the 30th. And 1st of May, I was to preach in a church. Parenting conference. It was a parenting conference. On the 30th of April, we arrived Port Harcourt from Lagos. I came down from the plane. And I was walking to arrivals. And how I fell, nobody knows. I just saw myself on the ground. When I stood up, I couldn't walk. My left leg was hurting badly. So I limped, collected my luggage, went home. But the pain kept going up. And my daughter said, no, mommy, let's go to the orthopedic doctor. So we went, and lo and behold, by the time I came out of that place, I had a cast. I had broken my foot. And I was supposed to go and preach the next day. And I said to the Lord, I will carry POP to go and preach. I said, Lord, I can't go. I will tell them I can't make it. He said, what did I tell you in Kenya? I said, Lord, you said you will give me visibility. He said, what do you think this is? This is the enemy coming against that word, so it will not be fulfilled. Every time God gives you a word, the enemy will come after that word. You have to be intentional in protecting it. God is telling you now, I want to prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. Then the enemy will come and say, God, is this the table? The enemy, when Jesus said to his disciples, let us go over to the other side. What happens? The moment they got into the boat, the storm arose. Why? The devil wanted to counter that word. Why? There's always a reason. The madman that was among the tombs. Do you remember people, when Jesus healed them, they will follow Jesus? This one wanted to follow Jesus. Jesus said to me, don't follow me. Stay with your people. Do you know why? This present day Bible that you have, this compiled Bible of 66 books, was compiled in a part of the Middle East called Decapolis, land of 10 cities. There were 10 cities together, Decapolis. The first bishop of Decapolis, according to history, was that madman. That's why God said to him, don't follow me. He had work to do. Sit with your people and compile the Bible so that the word of God will be available for people many years later. Now, devil knew that that man was going to be instrumental in giving us this word. So he made him mad so that everybody will forget him. And Jesus said, let us go over to the other side. And the devil said, no, we can't let him get there. Kill him in the sea. And God said to me, you will go with the POP to go and minister. So I woke up in the morning. And you know, I'm not used to using the stick to walk. I had not gotten the crutches. I was to get them later that day. And I was using a stick. I got to the front of my house and fell in the front of my house again. My niece was carrying my cup of coffee. She saw me falling. She ran towards me to help me. Forgot that she was carrying the coffee. Bent over me. The coffee poured on me. I got up with the coffee stain. I told her, I'm not even changing the cloth. We are going like that. We went to church with the cloth full of coffee. When the pastor saw me, Reverend Chris, I spoke to you yesterday. I said, yes, life can flip in a moment. I put the crutch beside me, sat down to preach. It was that video that went viral. I was wearing a red top, if you saw it. I was talking about generational patterns. Within 2 days, they are the ones that put it up. It's not me. From their church platform, the video had over 5 million views in 48 hours. By the time it was 1 week, it had over 10 million views. Right now, it's probably at 30 million, I don't know. And people started asking, who is this woman? Who is this woman? I went back to Lagos. I didn't tell the pastor that I broke my leg. Because he would have told me to stay at home and rest. Said, no, that's not the instruction. So I came back without... He said, Reverend Christy, what happened? I said, I fell. Why didn't you tell me? I said, you would have told me to stay at home, Abby. Say yes. I said, that's why I didn't tell you. That day, I made an altar call. 77 people got born again. 77 Sunday morning. And from there, things just... So the timing... God decided, I'm going to give you visibility now. I'm getting invitations from countries I've never heard of before. This January, I was in a country called Suriname. Have you ever heard of it before? It's between Guyana and Brazil. I was there this January. I'd never heard of it before. I'm getting invitations to places, Australia. That far place. All you hear about Australia is that far place. I have invitation to go to Australia. And somebody will be looking at me and be saying, why is it only her? God is in charge of your seat, your portion, and your timing. It's not in the hands of anybody. It's not in the hands of anybody. So stop looking at others and comparing yourself to them. You are not on the same track. You know how we run races on the track? If you leave your track, what happens? You are disqualified. These are things in the physical showing us what is happening in the spiritual. Why are you so concerned about another person's journey when you don't know the parameters God gave the person? I have a young lady that I'm mentoring. She for the past few weeks, she has been saying, oh, mommy, I want to be like you. I want to be like you. Then she starts hearing some things about my story. Then she came back and said, mommy, I'm not very sure about this one. I don't think I can handle this. So, mommy, let me remove this one from inside. We're not on the same journey. So be careful.